Greetings, my beautiful cuddlebugs. Welcome to Ramblings of a Book Dragon, where we dive into the warmth of good books and unravel stories that feel like a literary hug. I'm Ellie, your host, and I'm thrilled to embark on another cozy adventure with you. So grab a cup of your favorite beverage, snuggle into your cozy reading nook, and let's begin. But before we do, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe so that you won't miss a single episode. I really value your feedback and recommendations. Now let's begin. Now, today I am reviewing and ranting about a book that I just finished reading, and it was called Our Infinite Fates by Laura Stephen, and it was my fault for missing that this was a YA in the first place. Once I figured that out, it makes a lot more sense, but I really love the premise of it because it is the invisible life of Addie LaRue meets This Is How You Lose the Time War. Now, I haven't read This Is How You Lose the Time War, but I did read The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, and I did really enjoy it. Now, there were things that I definitely didn't quite like about it, and I can see where the author got those ideas from of how to try to fix it, but then she tried, but it didn't quite hit the right way. Because the idea is that these two souls have defied death as they reincarnate through the centuries. They've loved each other in 1,000 lifetimes. They've killed each other in every one. Evelyn remembers all of her past lives. She also remembers that in every single one, she's been murdered before her 18th birthday by Arden, a supernatural being whose soul and survival is tethered to hers. The problem is that she's quite fond of the life that she is in now, and her little sister needs her bone marrow transplants in order to stay alive. If Evelyn wants to save her sister, she'll have to find the centuries-old devil who hunts her through each life before they find her first. And also figure out why she's being hunted and finally break their curse. And 3, try not to fall in love. And I thought this was really intriguing. I thought this was a really interesting book, and that's why I wanted to read it. And then at the very beginning, we get the very first death, but then after that first death, it gets very repetitive, and the author does the thing that they're always talking about what you're not supposed to do, which is we're constantly being told that Evelyn loves Arden, that there is this great love, and it's so freaking melodramatic. And now that I know that it's a YA, it makes so much more sense because they're young, they're 17, young love, blah, blah, blah. But then the issue is that she doesn't, like, the way that they're trying to describe it in the book description is that she remembers all of her lives. The reality is that she really remembers like maybe a handful of her past lives, and she remembers snippets of older lives, but she doesn't know why they're doing this. And then Arden, he knows, but he refuses to tell her. And that's the thing that was driving me absolutely bonkers throughout the book, is that time and time again, because that's the other thing too, is they grow up and they don't quite remember what's going on for a while. And then as they get around age 12, 13, they start to remember, oh, I know this person. I have all these lives that I remember. I need to find this other person. But they don't know who the other person is. They go by a tether. And Arden, he remembers everything about basically every life, but he refuses to tell her why he wants to kill her, why he's always the one to kill her. And he's like, oh, if I tell you, it'll hurt you too much. It'll hurt you way too much, and I can't tell you. And of course, it's at the very end of the book, at the 70-80% mark, when he finally deigns to tell her, when it's finally time to allow the reader to know what's going on. And when the big reveal happened, I feel like there was just so much potential with what the author could have done, because we got a couple of the past lives, and I wish we had more time in those past lives, because with each one, It was at the very end, and there were times when they were already in a committed relationship together, they were in love, and they were like, "Oh, I don't wanna die." There was even one time where he didn't want to do this, he didn't want to end things, and she thought finally she was going to win and make it past 18, but then he went and poisoned her, and he regretted it. But then we were trying to figure out, like, okay, why can't they make it past 18? What is going to happen? What is this big deal? Because they're always hunting each other. They're always, whenever they reincarnate, they're always close enough by where they can reasonably find each other. But then lately, in the past couple of incarnations, she sort of felt the tether, but she didn't really understand what the tether meant. And even in the one before this, she had zero idea whatsoever that he was Arden until he killed her. And like, this is supposed to be this great love, this hunter-prey, great love. We stand the test of time. And it just, after a while, it felt a lot more like we were just like she was trying to more convince herself and the audience that it was this great love, that she was feeling all these wonderful, amazing things, and their love was so traumatic and it was just so terrible. But it felt more like she was trying to convince herself than anything else. And then also, to be honest, I felt a lot more feelings for her and her sister in the modern day than when it was finally revealed who Arden was, because she was trying to figure out who's Arden in the modern time, and she wants to save her sister because her sister has leukemia, and before she dies, she wants to make sure that she's able to do a bone marrow transplant, like I read. And so, but between her and her sister, there was just so much more life and pizzazz. And between her and Arden, it was like kind of like, okay, like I don't feel this great love that's supposed to have stood the test of 1,000 years. Like, okay, okay, what? It was just so boring, and we were told constantly about this great love, and then we find out they never have sex, and I realize this is YA, and they don't have sex until the very end of the book. I mean, this is going to be major spoilers, by the way. In case you're new to this channel, I gave away a bajillion spoilers, but I was trying to figure out, like, okay, why do they keep on reincarnating? Like, that's the first question, because she doesn't know. So naturally, we don't know either. And I have a bunch of criticisms about this book, but I wish the reveal happened earlier in the book. I don't like how the pacing was, because we got, and it's just the way that we were having our snippets of going back in time, of revealing these past lives, and it didn't make sense because she only really remembers a handful of the most recent lives. And then on top of that, she also barely remembers snippets of the lives that were happening before. So it's like, but anyway, it felt like kind of jarring when the snippets did happen of past lives, and it wasn't like she was even remembering. It was just, okay, we're getting a past life, but then it just kept on being the same thing over and over and over, and it didn't really feel like we were getting any sort of real concrete information. But I think what would have been really cool is if we got bits of information each time. Like, okay, I know this little bit of information, so I'm going to share this little bit of information with you to kind of build things up a bit. Because when the big reveal happened, it was like, if it was at the very end of the book, it was like all the other things happened because she's able to do the bone marrow transplant, she's able to save her sister and do all of those things. Well, we don't know if she saves her sister, but she was able to at least do the bone marrow transplant. So hopefully that will help keep her sister alive for a longer period of time so she can able to do more things. But then when the big reveal happened, it was like a totally different thing. And I see what I see what the author was doing. And I really enjoyed the potential of the book. But at the same time, the way that it was mainly the way the author ended the book that pissed me off. Not even the ending. It was the big grand reveal. Because lately there's been this whole shtick of, you are the devil. and you lost your memories because of XYZ. And at least this one didn't have the same memory loss situations as some of the others. Like, we already knew she had memory loss issues, but we didn't really know why she had memory loss. So the big reveal is that she is the devil, except it's not even that she is the devil. She is a devil. And way back when in like in 1000 AD, when they first technically meet, she is a devil who is wandering around in at the time of England, and she makes a deal with Arden to save his sister's life because his sister is dying. And the deal is that he ha and this is the thing, it's like she's trying to be unique with the religious aspect, but then it doesn't make sense. Like, it's because see, we're at the stuttering, we're at the use your words, Allie, use your words. But it's just like, instead of being like the devil or the goddess or anything like that, it's like mixing in different religions, except the way she was explaining it, it was like we were supposed to know what the fuck was going on at this point in time. Like, but like, she was born from the mother, and the mother is, I guess, the mother. See, this is the thing that I don't like, because we don't know, because before this point, before the big reveal, we don't know what is going on. We don't know what deal was struck. We don't know what happened, why Arden is chasing her throughout all of time, why he's killing her in every life, why they can't make it past 18. And the explanation feels extremely shoehorned and forced in, and like she's trying to be unique, but also trying to do something that we are already familiar with, and it doesn't make freaking sense. At least not to me. And maybe there is some big wave thing happening in YA. I don't know. I don't really read much YA and anymore, and I should have paid more attention to that factor with this. And it's like, nothing wrong with YA, obviously. YA is awesome. But I thought this was more fantasy, something like what I got was not what I was expecting at all. Like, this was definitely more of a modern fiction with some historical backdrops than what we were thinking we were going to get, at least in my opinion. And I applaud the people that absolutely love this book, but for me, it's just like, okay. I mean, there were some beautiful prose. There were absolutely some beautiful prose in the book, but that does not give an excuse for terrible story plotting. It's like she just decided, I think she just came to the end, because that was the issue, is that we got to the 70-80% mark, and it was like, bam, okay, fine. We're about to turn 18. In this miraculous life, since we're at the very end of the freaking book, I will tell you why we're doing this. And why now instead of any of the other million times, she asked. That is what I don't understand. I don't understand this at all. Like, why now? Beyond, there was no explanation for this, for why he decided to change his mind when he was so bound and determined. Like, she was trying to make it like, oh, I won't fight you anymore. We'll even go together on this. Like, there's no. See, this book made me mad. I don't know if you can tell. I really don't know if you can tell, but this book made me mad. And I don't know if maybe I am just overcomplicating this in my own brain or what, but this book made me mad. Yes, it just gotta. But yeah, so it turns out that she's a devil. She was born from the mother, and we find out that the mother is basically she feeds off of suffering from everyone. And like, she feeds off of suffering. So she's basically like the super devil, and she makes deals with people, and that's how she becomes more powerful. And in Evelyn's, whatever's great, brilliant mind, she was going to kill the mother. Like, they were going to turn 18. And that's the other thing that made me mad, is how pick me this girl is. Like, I know it's YA, but surely these girls are supposed to have a little bit more personality than just she's nice and she's nice. And think that was it. That was my whole issue is there was a complete lack of any sort of real development in the characters. There was no arc. There was no nothing. There was no any sort of realization. It was just them meandering and dragging us along for the ride. At least in The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, we did get a character arc because she was finally seen and she was learning how to be a little bit more of a person, things like that. And she was able to actually appreciate being alive. So she wanted to become alive. But then in this, it's just like I had no reason to give a rat's ass about Evelyn or Arden or their relationship. I cared a lot more about the fucking sister. And I'm sorry for my swearing. I am not sorry for my swearing. It's just her sister, like, just her sister was the one who I cared more about because her sister had a personality. And Evelyn's was just that she's nice. And then when we find out that she's a devil, it turns out she's not like any other devil. She's not like other girls. She's not like other devils because she has a personality and she has empathy. Blah, 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 blah. So she has issues making bargains. It's like, okay, and bite me. I'm cranky. But yeah, that was just not, but then that's the other thing. Like, she thought, like, this girl, like, that's the other thing. Like, these two have been alive for 1,000 years. And yes, I realize that she hasn't always fully remembered everything. But you would think that in your small bee-sized brain, you would realize that, like, her thinking was that there has to be balance in the world. So the mother can't be all powerful. She has to be killed. But it's like, she is a devil. She is the head devil. She has been gaining power for 1,000 years. Surely that makes her a little bit more difficult to kill. And I realized that I think she was trying to get away from the whole religious aspect of an all-powerful devil, because it turned out that the devils are the friends we make along the way. The devils are the humans among us. And so they make a deal and they go and reap and gather souls. And that suffering is what makes the mother more powerful. So but then somehow Evelyn was born. Like, we learn why later. And it was like a little extra snippet that not even Evelyn knows about later on, which I thought was like, I liked that. I did like that of how this all started. Like, there was the start and then there was the start before the start. And I did like that. I thought that was really interesting. It doesn't make sense, but I thought it was interesting. Especially considering the fact that the whole reason why she was... Anyway, but then the whole way that the mother was even killed was because the mother decided to take their love, and their love of 1,000 years became too much. And their love and the love of all the mothers and fathers and siblings and friends and blah, 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 that was all too much for the mother. And you would think, and the reason why the mother was suggesting this was because she was needing to find another source, because she was not as strong as she used to be, because it's a pyramid scheme. It's like, oh my fucking God. This whole book is just annoying me. Like, the struggle was real to finish this book, especially when we were getting to the end. Like, at first I thought, I was like, okay, this is an interesting book. I like it. This is cool. Even with the whole, our love is so awful and tragic love story. yeah, I'm terrible. I'm awful. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. But yeah, it's just the whole fact that it was their love that destroyed the mother. And it's like, I do appreciate that when we got into some of the other books out there that have memory loss and an all-powerful being, is that at least they are all-powerful, that there is a reason why there's memory loss, instead of some really stupid mind games that were technically ridiculously easy to fix by a 17-year-old who has still, even though she's 17, she has been around for 1,000 years, but she still is only 17 years old. But yeah, it's just like, just a lack of maturity And you would think that they would know a lot more, especially Arden. And the fact that the only thing we know about Arden is that he likes poetry and he's supposed to be deeply in love with her. Like, there's just so much more potential in this book, and that's what makes me so mad, is I can see the potential of this book of going through these different times, not even all the time, but just going through time of these cat and mouse. That's what I thought we were getting, was a cat and mouse game. But instead, they find each other, they kill each other. They find each other, they kill each other. And it wasn't even really a cat and mouse game. We're fine. We're good. Because I thought I saw somewhere about it being cats. I don't know. But there's just so much more potential that it could have had. And I think with a different author, with an author with different writing chops, like, it was interesting for what it was, and I did really enjoy the general writing prose other than the my love. And I think that was the other thing that was killing me, is her talking about, oh, my love, my love, my love, my sweetheart, my love. Well, she never says my sweetheart, but she just says my love. It's like, okay, 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 fine, fine. But yeah, I'm just cranky. But at least there are things to do, there are things to work on here with something like this, and I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to be back, and I hope I won't be as long in the distant future next time. We shall find out, but as always, my beautiful cuddlebugs, if you have any books that you would like for me to review, or any shows that you would like for me to watch, please let me know, and I will catch you next time. Goodbye!